Hi everyone, welcome back to another video on my channel. If you are new to the channel, welcome to A Girl Like Me. I'm Chloe M, and this is A Girl Like Me with Chloe M. Who would have thunk? So today I thought that I would just sit down with you guys in my room and let me know if you guys like this place to film. So today I'm just kinda gonna do a get ready with me, pretty much my go-to everyday makeup with a couple tips. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I'm not a makeup artist, but I do really enjoy playing with makeup. So without further ado, why don't you guys get ready with me? So I've already prepped my skin with my skincare routine. So I have a morning routine and an evening routine. And if you guys want to see those videos, just comment down below. What I have on right now is the Used to the People Glow Oil. I have the Sunday Riley Vitamin C serum and the Sunday Riley Autocorrect Eye Cream. I've kind of had that on for a couple hours today. I haven't put any makeup on today. So I'm gonna just quickly spray my face with a setting spray. This is the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist, so I'm just kinda gonna give myself a refresher here. So a lot of you have been commenting about me coming back. And yes, I'm back. I'm recording videos. I'm trying to record more. I'm actually in the process of recording about 3 today. I am just getting over being sick. I was sick for about a week. I rarely get sick. And I've only, in like my entire history of working, since I was like 17, have called in sick 3 times in my life, including this last week, which I had to because I was like dying. I'm using the L'Oreal 24 Hour Pro Glow foundation, and I'm going to just put it in my hands. I like to warm up all of my products in my hands and then kind of rub it in. I know some people are like totally against putting on foundation with their hands, but I actually really enjoy it. I just feel like the product melds in so much better with your skin once you get that warmth of your hands. And I always take it down my neck and kind of through my ears. I have a mirror just right above the camera, so if I'm looking up, that's why. And whatever I have left on my hands, I always just take my blender. I use the Eco Tools blender. I really love it. I love the little one too. I use the little one when I'm cream highlighting. Oh, and the shade that I was using for the Infallible was shade 203 Nude Beige. It's pretty much about to be winter here in Minnesota. So this is about to be a little bit dark for me here. But kind of just wanted to come on here and give you guys a little update about life and about, you know, where I've been. Briefly in my, I'm just going to take a little bit more of the foundation with the blender just to give me a little extra coverage where I need it. As you can see, I have some zits here. This is like a little beauty mark that just won't go away. But I've been gone for the past a little over 2 years, and I don't have any particular reason why I've been gone that long, other than I just needed to focus on me. When I first started my YouTube channel, I was in nursing school, and of course it was like I needed a creative outlet, and I needed just to feel a sense of community, but also to just have an outlet where I could be, you know, vocal about my opinions and not necessarily put a ton of time into it just because I was a student. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this concealer on. This is the Hello Fab Bendy Avocado Concealer from First Aid Beauty. I'm just gonna take a little bit on some of the areas where I need a little bit of more coverage. For girls like me, you understand. I just have a little bit of darkness in the corners and kind of on my chin. And then this concealer is a little bit more of like a peachy undertone. So it kind of helps correct shadow, which I need. And then I'm gonna go in with a little bit more full coverage, probably on that one more time after we're done. But, so I was gone for 2 years or so, and in that time I really figured quite a lot about myself. I went through multiple job changes. I think when I first started, or when I was leaving YouTube maybe, or in the process of like posting less, I was working at a hospital on an orthosurgery floor as a nurse there, and it was just, I did day nights, so I did rotations of day shifts and then night shifts. And I mean, if you're a new nurse, typically that's what you get. Like, you get nights and evenings and like I was lucky to even get day shifts. But the way that my night shifts work was that I just felt like I jumped into it so quickly from days to nights that I really didn't have like a transition to like have my body get used to it. And so I, slowly started hating my job. And this was right around election time. I'm just gonna take this NARS full coverage, what is it called? Soft Matte Complete Concealer, and just cover this little guy up. I know this is a little light for me, but if I blend it out enough, it just looks like I have a nice pretty bump. And I'll take this kind of sometimes right in the corners just to give me a little bit more light. And I just got laser a couple weeks ago, so I don't have a ton of hair right now because it falls out. But whatever's left, I do like to cover just with a little bit more of a matte concealer, so it doesn't really emphasize the texture as much. But yeah, so then I started working at Planned Parenthood after Trump got elected. I think myself and many people that I know, including my family, we were pretty devastated when that happened. And so I decided, you know what, I need to work somewhere where I'm gonna have a mission, and that mission is gonna protect the people that I love. So women, LGBT people who are homeless or have, not that many means to support themselves. I knew with this new administration that was gonna be an issue. So I went to go work at Planned Parenthood as a nurse, and I was a nurse on their float team, so I covered all the clinics within the state of Minnesota, and it was a really great experience being a nurse on that team. About a year in, I got promoted to the float team manager, and it was so different to see the difference between like being on the field in clinics working with patients versus being in the administrative building working with the director and leadership teams. And it just was, I couldn't do it. They were asking quite a bit of me, and my team was already about 28 to 30 people. So it was probably one of the largest teams in our affiliate, and they kept adding on to my plate, and one thing led to another, and I asked for more money or some kind of compensation, and I didn't get it, so I had to leave because it was to that point where I needed some other means to support myself, i.e., accessing mental health care or having more vacation time or something, because it was just getting to me, and it really did change me. I had a lot of people say that I used to work with often, like, you don't smile as much anymore, and you don't seem happy, and I wasn't happy, and typically I'm a really happy, positive person, and that place just drained me. So I got the opportunity to work at a medical spa in Woodbury, Minnesota, and I love it. I love my team. I love the patient population there. I love my manager and everyone who works there. It's so fantastic, and you know, I get up in the morning wanting to go to work, and I leave work at night feeling just so fulfilled and positive. So that's kind of my work journey as far as like the past 2.5 years have gone. I'm taking the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder in the color 1, and I just set under my eyes and kind of where I put the concealer with this powder. This powder is really fantastic if you have any texture, because it is so finely milled that it really gives you, just like it says, that airbrush finish. So I'm just taking this brush that they gave me at Sephora because I spend way too much money there, with that, and I'm just pressing it into the powder and kind of like stippling it in to the areas that I put concealer. I don't know if you guys see Violet. I don't know what she's doing. Violet, what are you doing? Violet, say hi. Anyway, now I'm gonna just take the Marc Jacobs Finish Line powder, and this is the Invisible. I don't know if they have any other colors, but I just take, I have an Eco Tools full powder brush, kind of a dome-shaped brush like this, and I just kind of stipple it in, and I get rid of the excess powder, and that's all I need for my full face. So I kind of just go over the area that I did in powder with the Charlotte Tilbury, and then I kind of go over the areas with what I powdered with Charlotte Tilbury, and just down my neck, on my ears, and kind of behind them, just because I put foundation back there, especially if I'm wearing my hair up, because then you can see like I'm lighter back there. But yeah, and then as far as Pat, some of you, I think one of the last videos I posted before I left YouTube for a while was me going out on a date with Pat, but the video was of trans girl dating tips, and I think I was wearing like a Minnesota Twins shirt. Yeah, it was a Minnesota Twins shirt, and talking about dating. And you know, the thing is, I've been through a plethora of different dating situations during my transition, and currently, you know, I'm at a point in my transition where I don't think I'm gonna be doing any more surgeries or anything like that, so, you know, I don't think transition is ever complete because, you know, things change. But, you know, dating during the different stages of my transition has always been, now that I look back on it, such an interesting time. And so I think the last video that I was doing was right before Pat and I went out on a date to the Twins game. He took me to my first ever Twins game. And if you guys don't know who the Twins are, we live in Minneapolis, so it's a Minnesota baseball team. It's just crazy. Thinking about it now, Pat and I have been together for almost 3 years now. I guess it'll be 2.5 years, but I round up. And we live together now, so this is our new apartment. Once we get everything done, we'll do an apartment tour. But if you guys want more trans girl dating tip videos, let me know. I love dating. I love love. But I also don't deal with fuckery and fuckboys because, you know, I've dealt with that kind of behavior in the past. So you let me know. It's always something that I really enjoy talking about. And then if you guys have any specific questions, go ahead and leave that down in the comment bar below. This is just the Marc Jacobs Omega Bronze in the color Tantastic. I just pretty much love Marc Jacobs, if you can tell. I just forgot an eye brush. I will be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I just needed to grab a blending brush. This is a really, really freaking old blending brush. I think this is an old BH Cosmetics blending brush, but it's been my favorite blending brush I've ever had. So I'm just gonna go back into that bronzer because on an everyday occasion, I don't dip into eyeshadow palettes. I use my bronzer, I use my blush, and I use my highlighter. So I try to keep it super simple. So I'm just gonna go in with the bronzer that I was just using and just kind of take it all over the lid and up through the crease. Pat's been with me through quite a few milestones in my life already. I mean, he was there when I was studying for my NCLEX, which is the nursing board exam, which is probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Also one of the most emotional things I've had to kind of deal with, because it's like you put in all this work in nursing school, and I mean, you can retake the test, because many people do. I mean, the test is hard, but it's kind of like 4 years of your life that you've given to, you know, get into this career, and it all depends on this test. And you can have as little as 75 questions, but you can also have as many as 365 questions. And so it was just, I mean, Pat helped me study, which was fantastic, and he helped me go through note cards, and he's been there when I've gone through my multiple job changes. My one job at Planned Parenthood, I was getting so stressed that I started having a lot of health issues. So apparently I have IBS. Who'da thunk? And I try to keep a really consistent diet, but the stress was aggravating it so much that I had gone to the ER like 3 times within a matter of like a couple months. And I had gone to my GI doctors. I got scoped, so they mildly sedated me and stuck a camera down my throat to see if I had any deformities or anything wrong. They took biopsies. They tested me for a lot, and I don't eat gluten, I don't eat dairy, I don't eat legumes just because they hurt my stomach so badly. It's not like and legumes are like beans or like peanuts, and they just cause a lot of inflammation in general. And so I hadn't been eating those, and I've been cutting that out of my diet, and so I was being pretty strict. But everything came back normal, and like thousands of dollars later in medical bills, it was like, oh, you're probably just stressed. And after I left that job, and now everything is back to normal. I haven't had an issue at all. And so it's just crazy to me that, I don't know, it's how much stress can actually affect your health. And, you know, I'm lucky enough to be able to have a job and to change jobs and to afford health insurance and be able to get to the doctor. So it's like I recognize how privileged I am and how privileged I was. But it's really, really hard to think about that time and how I was, because I was a different person. I'm just taking Warm Soul MAC Mineralized Blush, and so I kind of put that on my cheeks. I sometimes take it a little bit through my forehead, nose, chin, and then my eyes, just with what's ever left on there, just to make everything cohesive. This color is so pretty. Like, I'll put the concentrated amount on my cheeks, but it just gives you kind of like a sun-kissed look to your skin. I'm just gonna wipe that brush off. And before I put highlighter on and my kind of, if I do a shadow, sorry, I just flicked you off. If I do a shadow color, I like to go back in with my setting spray just so they have something to stick to. So I'm just gonna go back in with my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. Sorry, the light is super bright. So, now that that is done, I'm gonna let that just smack myself in the face. Yeah, so that I was going through that and some kind of mental health issues as well, dealing with some depression, anxiety, all stress induced. You know, I've been dealing with a great bit of dysphoria on and off, just struggling a lot with my body and you know, my transition. One of my big things that I've never really liked, but there's just not anything to deal with it, is my voice. And given right now I'm sick, and so it's different, but it's something that's always bothered me. And I'm taking MAC's Extra Dimension Pigment and Sweet Heat. This is probably one of my favorite eyeshadow colors. I wear this every day. If I'm not doing anything special, this is kind of what I wear to work, what I wear to pretty much anywhere if it's an everyday occasion. You know, I've had my breasts done, which I'm so thankful for, because that was actually a huge part of my dysphoria, was my breasts. I've never really had an issue with my genitalia, just because, I don't know, in the very beginning, I definitely was like rushing to get bottom surgery, and I had bottom surgery scheduled with Marcy Bowers 2 years ago in April, would have been my date, but I canceled because I think patience is so important in transition, and that's something that I've learned over the past couple years. But, you know, experiencing this dysphoria on and off about bottom surgery lately has been really difficult, just because I have a really great sex life. I have a really, I'm not, like I said, I don't care about my genitalia. The one thing that I've always said is there's a lot of trans women out there whose experience is, you know, that makes them really dysphoric. With me, it's just like, it's something that I've never hated, but it's just also like, I would say it's inconvenient, especially with me being so active and working out and wearing yoga pants and swimming and being in bathing suits and stuff like that. So tucking, you know, very often is hard, and using the tape that I use is really difficult on the skin. And so I would say, if anything, it's not necessarily something that's very convenient. It does get in the way of my daily life, because, you know, if I were to happen to like untuck on an accident, you know, throughout the day just by walking or doing whatever, then I have to like run to the bathroom, retuck, make sure everything's fine, and then go about my day. And so it's tough in that sense. Just a side note, if you're not a trans person, or just people in general, not even like trans, cis, whatever, like asking someone about their genitalia is not something that you should ever do unless that's a conversation that they bring up with you. I like to talk about it just for educational purposes and for me being open and honest about my experience, but that doesn't mean every trans person does. So take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm gonna use the Rimmel Exaggerate liner in Rich Brown. This is my favorite drugstore liner. It's waterproof, and this color is beautiful. I don't really like wearing black eyeliner every day, just because I think it can be too harsh. And this brown actually makes my eyes look really blue, which I love. So I'm gonna take that, I'm just gonna use this mirror quick. I just kind of put it on the outer corners, and then I'll just take the smudger on the end of this. I'm almost out of this, I gotta restock here. And I'll just kind of just wing it out a little bit, just to give my eyes a little bit more of that almond shape and to diffuse that color so that line is not too harsh. You know, being trans is, you know, a part of my life. It's not everything in my life, but it does affect everything. And going through dysphoria off and on, I think, is something that most trans women can relate to. It can come at any time. You know, it can come at any age. It can come at any stage of your transition, whether you consider yourself at the beginning, the end, the middle, wherever. Dysphoria is not something that I think is just happens once and you're done. It's something that I think trans people continuously will struggle with during most of their lives. You know, even if they've had all of their affirming, you know, things done, whether that be nothing or, you know, all the surgeries and whatever they need to feel complete. But it's something that it's very powdery. I'm just taking the Maybelline Master Chrome highlighter in, I don't know what color this is, it's the Nikki Tutorials one. And just using that blush brush that I dusted off and putting it on kind of the high points of my cheeks, my brow, and then kind of down the center of my face. I don't put highlighter anywhere where I have texture, like my upper lip or my chin. Some people do. I don't. I just don't like emphasizing that texture. I've been, you know, better about it. I've been, you know, just vocalizing my feelings and writing them down and just trying to be the best version of myself that I can be. You know, there are a lot of things happening right now in this country that scare me, and I think that, you know, kind of throws a wrench into how I'm feeling because, you know, on top of my feelings of dysphoria, on top of my feelings of, you know, anger and all of that, I'm also scared. I'm scared because I'm a woman in this country that is so patriarchal and so misogynistic, but I'm also scared because on top of that, I'm a trans woman, and I just don't think our country is there when it comes to supporting minority populations of any kind. And so, you know, recognizing my privilege in education and, you know, my career and my race and my background, you know, I can only imagine how all of, you know, the rest of my trans community feels, you know, with everything that they have layered on top. And so if you are feeling scared, if you are feeling lonely, if you're feeling angry, it's okay to feel that way. I know I'm feeling that way about our president, about our new Supreme Court justice, about senators and Congress people who condone the behavior that's happening in this country. But just know that as a community, we have to stick together. And whether that means, you know, just being an ear or speaking your opinion or standing up for those around you, we all have to do something because we can't wait around. We can't wait for people to decide what is going to happen with us. We have to fight for what's going to happen. And as a trans woman, I know that can be difficult sometimes, especially if you're not out, if you're not visible. It's hard because that is a matter of safety. And so I encourage you just to find your community, find your people, be honest, be open, and find a way to contribute in the biggest or smallest ways you can, just because it's up to us to make a change. Obviously, it's not going to happen with the people who run our country, because we have to speak, and now is the time. Come November, I hope everyone gets registered to vote. I hope you come out in masses, and I hope that we can make a significant change. Sorry, that was my political rant. I need to put mascara on. So this is just the Lash Paradise mascara. This is my favorite drugstore mascara. I also use the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir mascara, but I actually prefer this one over it. And I also like the Stila Big Fat Lash, I think it's called. The last thing that I have to do is just put on some lip gloss. And I had to wipe my nasty, crusty lip. This is kind of my go-to everyday makeup look. And then I'm just finish it off with the MAC Cream Sheen Glass in Boy Bait. It's my favorite lip gloss. It's just like a nude, like a peach-based nude. Yeah. So that's kind of my go-to everyday makeup that I do. I hope that I didn't ramble too much for you in this video. I know so many of you have been so patient with me and my uploading and kind of some videos that I promised you. I promise you that I'm currently working on a fitness routine. I'm gonna start posting a lot more fitness videos, so stay tuned for that. I'm actually gonna be recording a Gymshark try-on haul video here shortly. That'll be up most likely after this video. And Danny and I are gonna start recording more videos. And I also promised you videos with Pat, so we're gonna do a boyfriend tag video, and we are also gonna do a video where he does my makeup. So that should be pretty interesting. Thank you all so much for watching my videos today. Don't forget to subscribe, comment if you have any love to give. If you don't have any love to give, then don't give anything at all. And don't forget to click the bell notification so you get notified when I upload videos. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and thank you so much for getting ready with me. See you next time. Bye.